Right, so got something good coming up hopefully, and I'll see if I can put some pictures up as well. So first of all, one weird thing is I kind of got to inadvertently thank Sean Woods, or I've got to thank Sean Woods for inadvertently showing me a book, and it's a good thing that he's popularised not necessarily the book but some of these traps, because some of you probably know that Sean Woods does a lot of mousetrap stuff, and he must have found this book written by Leonard Mascalls, and in the book it's got a load of mouse traps. As well as mouse traps, it's also got a load of other traps in it. So thanks to Sean Wood, because he'd done this video and he told you the name of the book. And I've tried to find the book. It's a bit of a nightmare. Well, for me it was anyway. And the book is called, it's a really long name, really weird. It's called A Book of Engines and Traps to Take Polecats, Buzzards, Rats, Mice and all. Oh, and all other kinds of vermin and beasts, whatsoever most profitable for all warreners and such as delight in this kind of sport and pastime. That's the actual name of the book. You could call it A Book of Engines and Traps to Take Polecats, Buzzards, Rats, Mice. And it was written by a bloke called Leonard Mascalls. I tried to find out some information about him. Quite hard to find out anything other than he was an English writer and translator. He wrote these books in Tudor England, I believe, or I'm sure it was Tudor England. The book is like 400 years old or whatever. I'll see if I can put some pictures on, but like I said, Sean Woods had done some of the mouse traps, and I think some other people had replicated some of the mouse traps, but I've never ever seen any of the other traps at all ever reproduced, except for one, and that was by Survive Smart. He'd done one trap, and that was the hair pipe trap. So I'll just pause this now and I'll show you a couple of pictures and then we'll carry on talking. So that's a few of the pictures, written in like old English style writing, with old English words. He also wrote a couple of other books. Now, I'll tell you what I found out about him, which isn't much. So, it says his family was from Plumstead, Kent, in England, and he became clerk of the kitchen in the household of Matthew Parker, Archbishop of Canterbury. It said Mascall died at Farnham Royal, Buckinghamshire. Well, as some of you know, I actually live in Buckinghamshire. That's weird, yeah. So he died at Farnham Royal, Buckinghamshire, and was buried there on the 10th of May, 1589. And then there's some claims about claims that he introduced carp and the pippin apple to England were doubted. Carp were introduced earlier, and the Mascall or Mascall, who introduced the pippin at Plumstead, which may have been a printing area, as Thomas Fuller says, was more plausibly an ancestor. That's all I can really find out about Leonard Mascalls. So he also wrote some other books, and they were the book, the titles are massive, but I'll tell you as much as I can. A book on the art and manner of how to plant and graft all sorts of trees, how to set stones and sow pepins to make wild trees to graft on. And it carries on, right? The husbandry, ordering and government of poultry, a book of fishing with hook and line and all other instruments thereunto belonging, and another of sundry engines and traps to take polecats, buzzard, rats, mice, and other kinds of vermin. The first book of cattle, wherein is showed the government of oxen, kine, and cows, and how to use bulls and other cattle to the yoke. And then he did a book of engines, traps, to take polecat, buzzards, etc. Apparently he'd written, the book we're going to look at was also as part of another book, and then it was reproduced into its own separate book, if you know what I mean. So what I'm going to do, a bit of a long-winded talk there, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start reproducing Mascalls' other traps. So I may get round to doing the mouse traps, but I'm going to leave them till last, because they've already been really popularised by Sean Woods anyway. And there's a couple of people online who's reproduced them and done a lot of kind of research into them, but I haven't really seen any research into his other traps at all. So he's got some really good ones, and kind of ones which we would have all kind of seen before, but slightly different, you know, where they would have done them in the old days. Good thing is though, back then, even in the late 1500s, they had some quite modern materials. So they had proper wood, wooden planks and stuff, nails, rope, string, metal, you know, and all kind of stuff like that. So stuff that we can get hold of and still make them properly. I don't think there's anything else I can say, but I think that's about it. Hopefully I'll do some on the weekend, and I'm going to try and reproduce them properly, you know, use old style stuff and make them look like how they do in the pictures. There's only one or maybe two that I can't make head nor tail of them at all. I'm not even sure what it's supposed to be, but if I can figure it out, then I will. I'll quickly show you this one. Now this is the one I can't seem to make head nor tail of at all. It's this one on the left, the latch trap. Now I'll read you what it says. If we can make head nor tail, you know, if we can make out, you know, what it means, then I'll see if I can do it. So it says, this engine is called a latch or brake trap. It is made with 4 thick boards or pieces of timber, in length 3/4 of a yard or less. Ye may make them as ye shall think good, either to sit still in the earth, or often to be removed. But if ye will make them to remove, then must the upper fallers be more heavier made. These 4 pieces must be pinned at both ends, and the 2 upper boards or fallers must lie within the 2 neither. Or I think that it says neither, but I think that means other. You know, they said things differently in the old days. As ye may see by example. Then is there within those nearer boards a long bridge, which must be tied at neither end of the catch with a string, and that bridge hath 4 holes at the other end, for a pin to put therein to bear and hold up the 2 fallers, which pin is put into one of those holes of the said bridge, and the other end of the pin stays under the great square pin that is between the fallers, and the string that is tied to that pin is tied above to a trounchin, which trounchin lieth on 2 forked stakes set in the ground, as ye may see by example, by the neither part of the trap, or other part of the trap. Also, the neither or other parts are rebaited on the outside and made edgewise upwards and hedged on both sides, as you may see, and to fall towards the edge is best. Right, quite complicated and weird, that one, so I may have to see about that one. If I can find out any other info about it, then maybe see if I can do it. The one on the right, this one, makes complete sense when I read it, but that one a little bit weirder, but you know, we'll see what happens. So I should have plenty of ideas to make some new traps now, using the book of Leonard Mascalls, Engines and Traps for Buzzards, Polecats, Rats and Mice and whatever else. So I hope you're going to like them. Some of the traps seem brilliant to me, and some I've never seen, or very slight variants I've never seen before. So if you know any more information about any of this stuff, or any other information about old traps or anything like that, please send me any links or any info. I'm really into that, and you know, I'd greatly appreciate it. So hopefully we'll get some decent traps. I'll see if I could do the hair trap over the weekend, because it's relatively simple. I was going to do them in order, but there's some easier ones I can do first to start getting the hang of it a bit, you know what I mean. So right, cheers for watching, and hope you enjoy these traps that are going to come up. Oh, and cheers to Sean Woods for telling me the name of the book. Otherwise I probably would have never ever found this. So if you ever watch this, Sean, I don't know. Cheers, mate. Alright, thanks a lot. Cheers for watching.